Louis Brea was not a soccer player.
Let's dance.
I don't know why I'm saying Louis Brea is not a soccer player. I don't know the name. I mean, you know, when you sing Picasso, Van Gogh, you sing painting, but when you sing Louis Brea, you're like, okay, what team is he playing? Like in Nice or in Milan, or, you know, it's like, I don't know, there's something weird. Louis Brea is a late Quattrocento, early Cinquecento, late 15th, early 16th century painter. We call this guy the primitives painter. Why? Because they literally started the Western world painting we used to today. Yesterday I was all alone looking at his famous crucifixion here in Nice on the French Riviera. There's a room special for it, like super chill AC. I'm gonna put you some images of me visiting that when I made some live comments in front of the piece. This painting is absolutely amazing. Just been finished restored, but I'm going to save that for the end. First, a few words about Louis Brea. First thing you need to know is like Louis Brea's father was a cooper. I know it sounds like crazy. Making wine tunnels for me is like the best ever. This guy was surrounded by wine and beer and whatever, and I mean clearly, it's a good environment for becoming a painter. The truth is we don't know anything how he became a painter. We know the family was probably from Armarita, around Armaritaja, so Taja, probably up there in the mountains, and we have a lot of primitive painter from the Riviera and Nice around here that have been painting churches and monasteries up there in the backcountry, in the monasteries, convents, etc. So it was mostly not really by the beach, but mostly up there in the monastery, a place for a quiet meditation. With this fantastic crucifixion by Louis Brea, that again has just been restored a few years ago, there's a few things that really amazed me. First, he did mostly the drawings, and that's his brother and his nephew that have been helping with the colors, of course. And this composition, when you look at it, is really the details. It's filled with amazing detail. Further predella is mixed with many stories, but again, I'll do that at the end. I'll go through every little predella. But when you look at the main painting, this crucifixion of the Christ, what happened at the crucifixion is the moment Jesus just died, all right? When Jesus just died. And that's really trying to capture the emotion of really that intense moment where everyone is feeling grief. What happened? The Son of God just died. Either you believing, you're Christian, you're Catholic, whatever is your faith, even if you have no faith or whatever, you see Zeus everywhere in the world, crucifixion in all the museums in the world. So how do you read this painting? That's my goal right there. And how do you feel the emotion? Now the only thing is the emotion. Remember a guy like a philosopher like Jean-Jacques Rousseau? I always say you can't read a painting without a little knowledge of philosophy. A philosopher like Jean-Jacques Rousseau used to say, pity is a feeling everyone is feeling, all right? And especially nowadays you can learn that a guy is suffering from I don't know, somewhere in the world very far, and I can feel pity for that person without even knowing what's going on, right? So what is interesting with the Christ is really here, I love the Mary Magdalene, which is like embracing the cross. Again, a classic figure. You have to imagine all these positions and figures were very coded, right? So you can't really, the tenets were very strict, so you have to go with this kind of principle for these altarpieces. This artwork is very coded, but nevertheless, you still have a lot of freedom. You can do a lot of different different things to express this, right? The mother of the Christ, for example, the Virgin is absolutely unique, a classic, like kind of a falling, things like that, right? She's held by another woman. We don't know who this other woman, but usually we call the story of the three Mary. Maybe I'll go through that later on if I have a second on that video, a supplement. Maybe I can do some supplements to my video at the end. And but what is amazing, you have other characters on the other side. You recognize maybe Saint Francis with the torso, the missing hair up there, which is showing what we call the stigmat on his hands. It's a classic. You have Saint Jerome on the other side, which will be writing is like beating his chest with a stone. And next to Saint Jerome, which is probably, again, it's a classic representation of Saint Jerome. So basically going in the desert and beating yourself, trying to get your mind free by beating yourself. Nowadays you can beat yourself by just practicing yoga. I did it this morning, believe me. I was feeling like I was beating myself with a stone. And what is interesting is like just behind Saint Jerome, you have two rich men, very, very well dressed, that seems like they're not interested in the scene. And my question is always like, what are they doing here? So either they gave money for the building of the altarpiece, but usually they would be on their knees. So maybe here Brea, and I think that might be the genius of that piece, even if they paid for it and he's mocking them, they're just turning away from it, right? So it's like they're not interested. So maybe they were bored or something, like, yeah, let's go see a crucifixion. After all, when you think about the time of the Romans, it was pretty classic. Huh? If Jesus lived 33 years, then he died around the year 33, right? So that's the full Roman Empire. Though we have to go eventually, if you want to read something, trying to go through the persecution of the Romans and why through the history of civilization. And those of you who've been following my class online on Airbnb experiences, you know, or if you've been with me to the Louvre, you know that the history of persecution of religions through the world is fascinating. Whatever kind of religion is persecuted is fascinating, right? For example, if you take an example far from us, physically far from here in France, you think about India. Remember, that's maybe the biggest value of Gandhi, trying to unite the country, and they will ended up with actually creating Pakistan and India like separate because of faith and people like growing and moving around that. So really the persecution of faith is really something that goes with civilization, and either you're fighting it, that's pretty good if you're fighting it, but it's part of what we are. And that's why I love the crucifixion and the prophet in general. That's why probably I am born and raised in the Catholic faith. And I still consider myself a Catholic. Not the best one, but I'm working on it, right? But mostly why? Because I love religions and studying religion, and started studying theology at the Catholic institution in Paris. Why? Because why do we need religion? Why are we so fascinated with these stories, right? And I'm thinking about two things right now to explain that. First, I'm thinking about a reggae song saying that they killed a prophet, which is interesting. That's a Bob Marley song, that they killed the prophets. And the second reason is, okay, if Jesus were the prophet, which is basically what his design has, right? Then he's killed because he's a leader of a religion that is going around the principle of the Roman faith, all right? Except it's not. The reason, if you look at the book and the papers we have, not even in the Bible, but actually the Romans paper of the condemnation, technically we don't have any proof of the existence of Jesus, but my point is like, Jesus has been condemned mostly for one of the main reasons, but there's many reasons, and one is because he asked the people to stop paying taxes. And people always forget that, or hardly know it, or probably you never heard about that, but that keep amazing me, right? So, like just saying, yeah, okay, I'm the son of God, okay, we're cool. He's trying to heal people, okay, that's a bit strange, but okay, we're gonna let that pass too, okay. And finally, stay people not to pay taxes. Okay, crucify the guy right now. So that's ironic. In the predella, so in the little panels telling the history how Jesus is arriving on the cross, there is another example that I really like, and I'm going to start with this one. is the cutting of the ear of the Roman soldier, Malchus or something, anyway. And when Judas is kissing him, famous Judas kiss, it's a, I shouldn't do that when I talk about church. It's a song by Metallica, and the imagination, the world of metal music is fascinating, that they really go into the religious background, which is also, I think, interesting. And the Judas kiss, so when the kiss of Judas is coming, of course, Jesus is telling Judas, that's how you condemn the Son of God to death, with a kiss, all right? So it's the whole relationship, but the kiss and the love and whatever, very interesting. But in the meantime, I think it's St. Peter who actually cut the ear of that Roman soldier, and Jesus, on this particular, has he received Judas' kiss, with his other hand, it's probably his right hand, is touching the missing ear of that soldier and is healing him. So he's practicing a miracle the moment is condemned to death. I mean, that's full compassion, and that's why prophets are fascinating. And to me, and my main religion is art history, museums, artwork, whatever. And I've said that many times in class to my master students, is the relationship to godliness, to whatever is universal, is mostly through art history, when they have this kind of feeling that you can't explain. Of course, they explain it by the time of Brea, the early Cinquecento, through classical representations. But I think I can probably make exactly the same explanation about Mark Rothko that I just saw in Antibes lately, or any kind of abstract art, even like César compressing a car, making a compression, could be a relationship to something universal, which could be beauty, which could be, even at the worst time, as I'm working a lot on tragedy lately, even tragedy for the Greeks around the 5th century BC could be something very joyful. It's a way to understand what we can't understand, right? And first crucifying people, I mean, it's hard to understand, but the persecution of religions through history, and God knows we have examples I can't even name right now because there's too much passion around it, is part of civilization, as crazy as it sounds, and it is really explaining who you are. And as we live in peace, that was a subject of philosophy that I'm really into, is like, if we try to live in peace, we have to fight in a peaceful way, like Gandhi, for example, in non-violent. We have to fight for the principles that are very important to us. And for example, Jesus was like about paying taxes. So for example, elections are coming right now in my country for the next 2 years, and you want to know where the money of your taxes is going. That's the principle of a democracy, for example. And that was still the goal of Jesus. And that's why when you're looking at that crazy crucifixion by Brea, you really think, wow, this guy was like having this. Plus you got this influence, Lombard and Flemish technique, which is absolutely unique. Okay, that's a pretty long video, so I'll probably have to cut it at one point. Thanks for watching Loving Museums, and no matter what you do, if you're not doing it with a smile, well, you're doing it wrong.